Hello there, my YouTube chums. Today you'll find me playing Ghouls and Ghosts on the 128K Sinclair ZX Spectrum, developed by Software Creations and published in the UK by US Gold. This is a hard game, as everyone knows, so I too am baffled as to why, after playing Cauldron for a while and deciding that the dungeon levels were a bit tricky, I opted instead to play this game for my Halloween special. I changed control methods. I used save states. I watched YouTube videos for guidance, but alas, I remain almost legendarily bad at it, and annoyingly, still lack the skill needed to avoid picking up fireballs, which are, without doubt, the worst power-up in any game yet made. However, I still love this version of Ghouls and Ghosts, and so that makes it very special indeed. I will get to the end of the first level one day, even if it means still playing in the afterlife, which would be quite appropriate. In the meantime, why don't you sit back, relax, and watch me almost reaching the halfway point of level 1 over and over and over again, while I tell you a spooky story about the ghostly goings-on at Fortescue Towers last Halloween. The Fortescue Towers Halloween fancy dress get-together is a long-standing tradition, looked forward to by all the gang, with everyone making their best effort to make the night go with a yikes. Fortescue Towers was all dressed for the occasion, especially the Grand Hall, also known as the Sitting Room, and as darkness fell, it took on a pleasingly uneasy ambience. Spiders' webs in every corner, purple fairy lights, luminous witches' hats, pumpkins, broomsticks, vampire teeth, stakes, ghouls and ghosts. Pride of place above the fireplace was a giant glowing skull. Arabella and I were looking forward to the night's events, an alcoholic potion of pumpkin punch, an outdoors treasure hunt, and then settling down for a midnight feast of pumpkin popcorn in front of a howling Halloween film. At 8 o'clock sharp, the guests started arriving, and Arabella and I greeted each one at the door. First through the door was Bunty Norris.
"Oh, what a spectacular Dracula you are,"
said Arabella. "Thanks for having me," he joked. "No, Sferatu, problem, Bunty," I quipped back. "You both look dead on your feet." You can be dead certain about that, Bunty, we said. "Just don't chop off our heads," I warned, gesturing to our zombie costumes. "Punning aside, Bobbity, it really is frightful out there tonight. I hope all of the guests make it before the storm begins proper." Bunty's concerns were not unfounded. The wind was starting to pick up, and the tops of the conifers were beginning to wave. The air was turning damp. I knew it would take more than fretting about fret to put our guests off, but it was still something of a relief to see the first taxi taxiing up the drive. Lumbering towards us from their cab were Frankenstein's monster and the bride of Frankenstein. It was none other than our old sports and science master, Morty Milburn, and his wife, Melissa. "Urgh," said Frankenstein's monster. He felt around inside his monster's jacket before continuing. "And of course, we've brought a bottle,"
"Melissa's Meadow Sweet Mead,"
said Melissa. "The best honey-based brew this side of Holy Island," exclaimed Morty proudly, brandishing the bottle. No sooner had we thanked them than Tizer Tompkins arrived, dressed as the back half of a pantomime horse. "It was all I could get, Bobbity," he said apologetically. "I didn't want to let the thigh down." Finally, all but one of our chums was here. Clutterbuck School for Fellows former sports and classics master, Sebastian Davenport Smythe, had telephoned earlier to say he'd be a little late, as he was starring in the final night of the Villager's murder mystery production. We'd all seen it, and jolly good it was too. It certainly was a murder mystery with a twist. The vicar did it. Anyway, Sebastian would be coming later, wearing his murder mystery costume of Fortescue legend, the Headless Fellow. He told us to start proceedings without him. The treasure hunt was a tremendous success, with the gang exploring every inch of the grounds. The first to unravel the final ingenious clue Hidden in the gargoyle's mouth by the front door was Tizer Tompkins. He read it out loud. As white as a sheet, as old as the hills. My first is in sheep, and my last is in pills. I stand sentinel above the flames in an ancient place. It referred, of course, to the giant skull in the grand hall, behind which was the grand prize, a bottle of vintage special reserve, single malt Flecker's Ruin. You hoofed it around the course pretty quick, Tizer, said Bunty. Yes, my horse's legs certainly gave me the advantage, responded Tizer. With the treasure hunt over, we all settled down for the big film. No sooner had we sank into the sofas, however, than the lights began to flicker and went out. As did the television, as did everything. All that could be seen was the spooky luminescence of the giant glowing skull. The storm had finally started, and the full power of nature was being unleashed outside. All that could be heard was the wind howling through the eaves and the rain lashing against the windows. There was a prolonged silence before Tizer voiced what we were all thinking. One of us has to go outside to fix the generator. Bunty gave an involuntary intake of breath. But that's right at the bottom of the overgrown grounds at the rear. It's a wilderness, right on the edge of Fortescue Forest. Never fear. Leave it to me. I'll soon get things fixed and be back to the film in no time. Malty to the rescue. There were protests all round, but Malty was determined and went off into the night. We waited in trepidation as the thunder raged and the lightning flashed outside. What's that? Shrieked Tizer Tompkins, pointing a shaky finger towards the curtains. There, in silhouette against the lightning, was clearly a ghost, taunting and tormenting us, preparing to dement us for the rest of our days. With bated breath, Arabella and Melissa moved towards the curtains and slowly drew them back.
Oh, what a relief, Bobbity. It's just the bedsheet I washed earlier,
sighed Arabella.
It's been blown off the line and got caught on the conifers.
No sooner had we all breathed a sigh of relief than there was a strange screeching sound and the flapping of 1,000 wings from above us. No! Panicked Bunty. It's vampire bats coming to drink our blood and steal our souls! This time I was the voice of reason. It's okay, Bunty. It's just bats. Ordinary bats from the attic. Their noises often echo down through the fireplace. And just when we thought that was that, a side door opened, and standing there in front of us was a headless ghoul. This time there was no mistaking the real thing. It stood dripping in the doorway, backlit by lightning, with its head tucked under its arm. It was Fortescue legend, the headless fellow. We froze with fear. Suddenly, realization dawned on me. Oh, it's all right, everyone, I said. It's just Sebastian. He's finally arrived. Did someone say my name? Came a voice from behind us. I'm terribly sorry I'm late, but there were autographs to sign. If Sebastian was behind us, then who or what was this in front of us? What was to become of us now? Were we going to be decapitated too, forming one huge, headless horde, doomed to stalk Fortescue Towers for all eternity? We screamed in terror. Then silence, as we could neither move nor breathe. Don't lose your heads. The generator's booting up and should come back on any minute now. The headless fellow in front was none other than Malty Milburn. Sorry I took so long, but picking my way through that undergrowth in the dark was no mean feat. Well, almost dark, he said, holding up the head from under his arm. Turned out that Malty had used a lit pumpkin to guide the way, and had turned up the collar of my greatcoat, borrowed from the hallway, to protect him from the elements. which is why we had mistaken him for the headless fellow. Giggling at our mistake, we settled on the sofas once again, around the cosy, crackling fire. We were finally ready to watch the big film, the return of the headless ghoul. And how am I doing in the game? All continues used and no further than halfway through the first level. Well, maybe just one more go. I think I'll do better this time. I can feel it in my bones. Get it, you know? The skeleton, the bones. Thanks awfully for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like me, tell your chums. Until next time, this is Lord Fortescue saying toodle pipsy and... my YouTube chums.
Bobbity, what's that tapping noise?
It's just the tree branches blowing against the window.
But, Bobbity, there is no tree.